I used to be the ballerina farmswoman. I used to be the ballerina farmswoman.
The Ballerina Farm Times piece is a deceptive hit piece, and I'm going to point out all the tactics that are utilized by this journalist in the piece to really paint a different picture of Ballerina Farm.
Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video is the people's reaction to the Ballerina Farm article which we addressed last night. So this is almost like the part 3 of the Ballerina Farm Anna Neeleman. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check out the previous video so that you can get full context of what we're talking about today. So in this video, we're going to see people's reaction to the article of Anna Neeleman, the face, or will I say, the trad wife with 8 children, and she's also known as the Ballerina Farm, which is also a family business name. Like I said, go check out the previous video, which I'll link down in the description so that you can click on it and get full context of what people are reacting to today. So today's video, I need you guys to watch this video to the end because we're going to be sharing unpopular opinion of the entire situation. A whole lot of us have so much to say about the situation with Anna and all that. We have people in this video, people that have lived the life Anna is living, people that feel like the journalist was just trying to push out the wrong narrative out there. We have people that have lived the life, they are out of the life, sharing their thoughts and saying, you know what, this is what I experienced while I was there. This is what my thought process was while I was living that life. And this is where I'm at, and this is how it ended, or this is how it's going now. The type of conversation we're having here is a conversation that most people are not having. A lot of people, which is fine, which we already talked about that in the we addressing the article, really diving into the article, which was the previous video, kind of really dissecting and really going into the article. Let me know down in the comment section, were you able to read the article, or were you like me that could not read the article, was asking for subscription? Let me know if you read the article and what are your thoughts on this. So let's go check out the video, people's thoughts on this, and then I'll come back and share more of my thoughts. But like always, I always want to know what you guys think about the video, and even the people's response here, I want to know what you think about it down in the comment section. Okay,
so I'm a former Mormon trad wife. I have 6 kids. I'm 38 years old. I don't have an education. I got married young. I had kids young, and I absolutely gave up on my hopes and dreams to choose the life that I have now. If you would have asked me 5 years ago if I felt like I had choices in my life, I would have hands down told you that I was incredibly happy with the choices that I made, and that I made those choices knowing full well what I was choosing. Now that I've been out of the church for 3 years, I will tell you that I was never actually given a choice, because I see that the choices that I were given were not given in an honest light. It's not fair to show someone 10 candy bars and say, hey, you can choose this candy bar, which is the right candy bar that you should choose, or you can choose these 9, which are poisonous and deadly, and if they don't kill you, they're going to kill all of your friends and family members. What would you like to choose? That's how choices are given in Mormonism. So when you're in it, you feel like you're making a choice that makes you happy. And to be fair, like, I was happy in the sphere of what I knew happiness was, which in Mormonism, sacrifice and suffering is required for happiness. You're taught that everyone else's happiness outside of the Mormon church isn't real happiness. The joy you feel being Mormon, even though it comes with pain and suffering and sacrificing the choices that you actually would have made had you been presented the entire truth, is better and more and real. So are Mormon women truly choosing their lives and being happy with their choices? I think it depends what you consider a choice and what you consider happiness. But I will say that for me, leaving Mormonism was the first true choice that I ever made. I didn't know life could be this amazing.
I want to tell you guys a story about the ballerina farms woman. I used to be the ballerina farms woman. I used to be the ballerina farms woman. I married a man whose father had his own independent oil company in southeastern Ohio. We lived on a 200-acre farm. I worked as needed, part-time, full-time as a nurse, and then I started a business for my ex-husband, and I helped him run that while taking care of our 3 kids. At night, I would make gourmet dinners when I didn't work and gourmet desserts. I mowed the farm, I maintained the maintenance on the farm, I did everything on the farm. I ran the farm. Fast forward to 2018, My husband had started getting aggressive with me. We'll say that. Started becoming aggressive with me. On top of that, he was cheating on me with both men and women. So it was an abusive situation. So I said, oh, I'm leaving. I'm tired of this. When the violence started to get so bad that he started to get aggressive with me in front of my children, that's when I put a stop to it. Also in 2018, my father-in-law died. And when he died, he left me in charge of his business. But do you think these boys let me run his business? No. They stole everything from me. Everything from me. They stole my inheritance. They stole my kids from me. My ex-husband's rich friends started ganging up with him to abuse me and attack me legally and financially. I had to quit my job. I had to quit the job I had that I enjoyed because one of his rich friends was helping him bother me at work. So it got to the point where I just quit before I was going to get fired because they were harassing me so much and trying to make me look bad. They paid off judges, lawyers, forensic psychologists, guardian ad litems. You don't understand what these rich people do when they don't get their way and when they have this kind of money. They destroyed my life. They destroyed my life. I am now living in a rented house. I have a 2015 car. They put me into debt. They literally destroyed my life for leaving my ex-husband. So when you are one of these Ballerina Farms women, and you decide you're tired of being abused by this man, because she is being abused by her husband, whether you people want to admit that or not, that is abuse. That is abuse. And when you get tired of the abuse and you say, oh, I'm leaving, I'm not putting up with this anymore, they will destroy your life. They will destroy your life. They will take your children from you. They will leave you broke and destitute because they want you to come back and they don't want you to leave. So she's going to get tired of that eventually one day and she's going to want to leave. And they're going to take everything from her. They're going to take her kids. They're going to take any money she should have gotten. They're going to leave her homeless. They're going to leave her destitute. You women have no idea what it's like to be married to these rich men and how ruthless and unethical they are and how they will do anything to keep you around. Nothing is beneath them. Laws will be broken. My ex-husband has broken more laws than Donald Trump, I think, in the last 5 years, trying to screw me out of my inheritance. And all of his rich friends have helped him. All of his rich friends have helped him. So all these people, they joined together to gang up on one woman and abuse her to the point where life has no value anymore. My father-in-law died in 2018. It's 2024. I am still being harassed and bothered and approached at my job, being harassed by these men, gang-stalked, because they just won't let it go. I'm literally being bullied into unaliving myself after being a Ballerina Farms mom and saying I'm not putting up with this abuse anymore and leaving. They will not stop. This poor woman, when she leaves, and if she leaves, her life will be hell on earth. It will be actual hell on earth. These men don't care. They will destroy you. And same with me. Like, my ex-husband's family was worth about $50 million. To ever ask for a trip to Greece, that will never happen. If you women think you're going to marry these rich men like this, these conservative white men, and that they're going to fly you around the world and they're going to buy you fancy cars and fancy houses, they're not. They're not. They're not going to buy anything that's not an investment that's going to make them money. They're not. So if you women think you're going to marry these men and live this great life and have these kids and be happily ever after, you're not. You're not. So I know how this story ends, and I feel so sad for her. My heart breaks for her because it's like watching my life all over again. And when I wanted to end the relationship with my ex-husband, when I said that I was tired and I couldn't do this anymore and I wanted to leave, his first response was, I think we should have another baby. I'm asking for a divorce, and you're asking for a baby. And this is why they want women like her and myself to have so many babies, because you can't leave when you have babies. You can't. It's too hard to leave when you have a newborn baby or even small children. And that's why they want her to have so many kids. She can't leave. And like she says, she's so exhausted. She can't even do anything. But I feel so sorry for her. I used to be the Ballerina Farms woman, and I can tell you how it ends. And I can tell you, if you try to leave a man like that, not only will he and his family gang up on you, but all of his rich friends will gang up on you, and they will destroy your life. And they will make up the worst lies about you. They will call you the worst names. She's going to be a gold digger when she leaves. Mark my words. It doesn't matter that she had 20 kids and that she was a great mom. She will still be a gold digger because she was married to a rich man and she wanted to leave. And then she expects to be compensated fairly for raising 8 kids and doing all that work on that farm. And they won't. They won't. They will rock her world financially if she ever decides to leave. So for all you women thinking being a trad wife is so great, oh, it's horrific. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy. And then know that all the communities that live around you, they're going to join their team and they're going to gang up on you and they're going to help them ruin your life. And they're going to help spread lies about you and make you look like a psycho because you decided you didn't want to live the trad wife life anymore. So just for any of you women that don't know what's coming, if you decide to live that life, I just gave you a quick 20-year rundown of what your life's going to be like if you ever marry one of these men. It's miserable. It's hell. It's depression every day. It's constant anxiety. It's wondering if you want to live anymore because it's not worth it, because of the abuse they inflict upon you and what they expect out of you for nothing in return. So if any of you ever wanted to know what it's like to be a Ballerina Farms wife, I just told you exactly how it plays out and exactly how it ends. And I'm still fighting these men, and they're still trying to take my money, and they're still trying to put me in debt, and they're still harassing me every day of my life.
The Ballerina Farm Times piece is a deceptive hit piece, and I'm going to point out all the tactics that are utilized by this journalist in the piece to really paint a different picture of Ballerina Farm, a picture that people are running with. It's ridiculous. It is so abundantly clear to me that the writer in this case, Megan Agnew, knew exactly what she was going to write about this family and just went to Ballerina Farm to plug in the details. Even in the title, Meet the Queen of the Trad Wives, Hannah does not refer to herself as a trad wife. She says she does not identify with the title trad wife. Her husband, Daniel, also says that they are co-CEOs of Ballerina Farm, meaning that they carry the brunt of this work together. The journalist almost exclusively refers to Hannah as Neeleman in the article while referring to Daniel by his first name. Why do you think that is? For Daniel, he gets his first name, a form of personhood. For Hannah, she gets Neeleman to sort of insinuate that she is the property of her husband. Megan Agnew insinuates that algorithms are feeding women trad wife content in order to groom them into submission, which shows blatantly how she feels about trad wives at their core. Here's the part of the article where Hannah Neeleman says she does not identify with trad wives and those characteristics, and that she in fact does a lot of work, and they are traditional in some sense, but non-traditional in others. Meanwhile, the author of this article writes, they are being paid to act out a fantasy. Hannah Neeleman's life is not a fantasy. It is in fact what her life looks like. And I find it interesting that the prevailing narrative surrounding Hannah for so long was that she's not really doing all of this. She has help behind the scenes. They have so much money, blah, blah, blah. And now that a journalist has come to her house to confirm that she's actually doing all of this work, she is an oppressed victim. And all this heat is placed on Daniel as if he forced her to give up her dreams of being a ballerina and to go work on a farm, when this woman has full agency over herself and her choices. Daniel even says he initially thought that she would just stay home with the kids, but she advocated that she wanted to do work like her parents did. She witnessed two parents working together, and that's what she wanted in her life, and Daniel said okay. And I have to point out this interesting bit of writing. He was 23 and she was nearly 2 years his junior. Nearly 2 years his junior. You mean that she was 1 year and some change younger than him? Why would you write it that way, if not to insinuate that this is some sort of massive age gap and he's manipulating a younger woman? And then the part of the article that everybody's hanging on, that Hannah Neeleman gave up dance and Daniel gave up his career ambitions. These things happen when you decide to marry and have children. But the author decides to go on a tangent and write about all the things that Daniel wanted to achieve that he actually did get, while Hannah had to give up dance. Daniel wanted to live in the Great Western Wilds, so they did. He wanted a farm, so they have one. He likes date nights once a week, so they go. And they have a babysitter come on those evenings. She's trying to promote Daniel as this sort of domineering masculine figure. Meanwhile, the things he wants are to move out, get a farm, and go on date nights once a week. The horror. You can tell the author really dislikes Daniel. He gives her a tour of the farm and he's explaining as they go, step by step, all the different stations. And she writes after each of these things, which he explains, which he explains, which he explains. You can tell what the author really wants to write is which he mansplains. And I'm sorry, did you ask to come to their farm and have their lifestyle explained to you? If so, that's exactly what Daniel has delivered. And you can tell that this author has little to grasp at in her evil characterization of Daniel. At one point, when they're on this tour, he lets her know they have just one more stop that he's going to show her and explain to her. Then she writes, Neeleman calls, meaning Hannah, of course, and the husband says, we're just heading your way. Which would be true. We have one more stop, then we're headed your way. But the author writes it as if Daniel is lying to her, saying, instead, he drives in the opposite direction out onto the fields to show me another ditch. If you were on the phone with somebody and you had one more stop before heading their way, wouldn't you just cut to the chase and say, we're heading your way? These are little deceptive bits of writing that paint an overall picture and makes Daniel out to be this lying, conniving, domineering man. Even through all this heinous journalism, though, the author can't help but note that Daniel is a hands-on father, taking the kids out on the farm and doing all the laundry for a 10-person family that lives on a farm. Can you imagine? And a lot of people are hanging on this part of the article where Daniel says that Hannah gets so ill from exhaustion that she can't get out of bed for a week. But the article never notes Daniel's exhaustion level. He's never asked. We have nothing to compare it to. Another part that people are hanging on is this idea that Hannah secretly received an epidural during a birth that Daniel was not around for because he was working. And the author writes this, again, in a very deceptive way. It says Hannah lowers her voice. Daniel is currently out of the room taking a phone call. So I got an epidural and it was an amazing experience. The way this is written is sort of telling the audience that Hannah lowers her voice as a means of keeping this secret. I got a secret epidural because Daniel wants me to have unmedicated births. But in reality, she lowers her voice because Daniel is currently on a phone call. It's never asked whether or not Daniel knew about the epidural or if he has some sort of strong opinion about unmedicated births. In fact, Hannah herself says that she's not a fan of taking pain relief. But now everybody and their mother and sister is saying that Daniel is forcing her to do unmedicated births and she only gets an epidural when he's not around. And that is exactly what Megan Agnew wants you to think. You can also tell that Megan Agnew hates children in this article. Mom, 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 the little girl cries. I want to go to ballet now. She writes about the kids hanging on Hannah's hair. She writes about Hannah holding a baby for 4 hours straight on her chest and the fact that the baby never left her chest, as if that's somehow a great feat for a mother of 8 children. She would be very much used to that. But Megan doesn't like kids. She doesn't like tradwives. And she doesn't like the way this family runs. And she closes out the article with this moment where she asks about Hannah's sequined gowns, because it's this big, profound symbol of Hannah's womanhood and her independence that has seemingly been taken away from her because Daniel put them in the garage. I'm sorry. If I was in a family of 8 kids and we all had clothes that needed to go in some sort of cupboard, I would put the sequin gowns that we don't need on a daily basis while taking care of a farm in the garage too. There's so much more bias strewn throughout this article. I could do a whole part 2 if you guys wanted that. But here's why people are making videos about this and calling this a brilliant piece of journalism. It's not because it actually is. It's because they're excited. They may say that they feel for Hannah and they want her to be able to dance and she is oppressed by her husband, but in reality, they have subconscious drivers going on. They don't like the lifestyle of Hannah Neeleman. They don't like the fact that she's competing in beauty pageants 2 weeks after giving birth to a child, and they want her brought down a peg. So while they may make these videos about how much their heart hurts for this reality of a ballerina who is now forced to farm, in reality, they love that they have confirmation now that Hannah Neeleman's lifestyle is not all that it's cracked up to be, even though this confirmation is heavily biased. And I can imagine from the Neeleman's perspective now, they probably got a very inviting email from the Times asking to have a tour of the farm, and this is what they get in return for their generosity. This sucks, to be honest.
A lot of people have been talking about the Times article with Ballerina Farm's tradwife Hannah Neeleman, and I have some things to say about this. Nobody seems to be picking up on the probably most important part of this story, and that is the fact that Hannah is a member of a cult, and that is informing all of these choices that she's making. So yes, the article is heartbreaking, but I don't see it so much as a conversation about feminism. I see it as she is an indoctrinated victim of a large cult, the LDS Church. Why am I qualified to speak on this? Because I also grew up in a cult, a religious Christian cult. There's so much overlap between LDS or Mormons and Jehovah's Witnesses, which is the cult that I grew up in, that ex-Mormons and ex-JWs refer to each other as cult cousins. In the online community where apostates or, excommunicated disfellowship people from both of those cults gather, like in the Reddit forums, there's so much commonality that we end up reading each other's forums and posting in each other's forums. They're both new American cults that were started in the 19th century by wealthy white con men who had mental illness and thought they were special and being led by God to bring the true religion to people. I haven't seen a single video acknowledging this fact. I have seen women, and I watched a bunch of them yesterday because, I mean, who isn't interested in Ballerina Farms? She has this beautiful, precious looking life, but beneath the surface, there is danger lurking. I know a little bit about that because I was also kind of a trad wife. I had 7 children while I was in a cult. This is a woman who is not an autonomous individual, and I've seen women on here saying things like, well, I don't want to speak about her life because she is a grown woman, she is an autonomous person, she has free will, she's making choices. No, she isn't. No, she isn't. She is being indoctrinated and has been indoctrinated since the day she was born into the Mormon cult. Okay? She's not making choices that are informed. She's being told that she has to obey her husband. And it's so clear when you read the article. The reporter pointed out every time that the man interrupted her, every time that he spoke for her, every time in their lives when clearly he is pulling strings and making choices that are not best for her long-term well-being, whether financially, whether physically. I mean, she's going to keep popping out a baby every year until her womb falls out, until she has prolapse, or until she breaks down. One of the most recent videos that I saw that she posted, it was something like 11 days postpartum. She just gave birth. She just gave birth, and she's getting ready to go and do a pageant. She's going to get a spray tan, and she just gave birth 11 days ago. That is not healthy, and it is not safe. It simply is not safe. It is not best for her well-being. And the fact that this man is the heir to the blue jet billions, but he won't hire a housekeeper or a nanny to help her out when she has 8 children? No. She's being told that she has to obey the man in the room. She has to obey her husband. That's what she's been taught her entire life from the moment that she was born. And not only does she have to obey him now that he's her husband, but she had to obey him when they were just dating and engaged, because in her mind, he already owns her. He's her husbandly owner, according to the scriptures. You don't understand, unless you've been in a cult, you don't understand the patriarchy and the misogyny that exists in these new American Christian cults, okay? The woman is not making informed choices. And if she's extremely lucky, her life will not blow up. If she's extremely lucky. The article also said that she was so exhausted at times that her husband reports that she sometimes spends an entire week in bed. We're watching an abusive system happening in front of our eyes because of her notoriety online, because of her social media platform, which is her. Let's just tell the truth. People are watching her because she's a beautiful blonde white woman with this beautiful aesthetic cottage core with all these beautiful little babies that she's pumping out every year. That's why people are watching, but it's a lie, because underneath the surface there is danger. If everything works out perfectly for this woman, the worst that will have happened was that she gave up her dreams of being a Juilliard trained ballerina, which was her dream. This man comes in and love bombs her, proposes marriage within a month. She wants to date for a year. No, he's not going to respect her boundaries. He's not going to let her finish school. He's not going to let her live out her dream. She admits in the article that it wasn't her dream to have all these kids. So this man comes and love bombs her, and then they get married, which again, you have to understand what dating and courtship are like in a cult. It is not normal. It is not a normal trajectory. First of all, everything is rushed because, God forbid, they fornicate before they're married. They'd get in trouble with the cult. They would be shamed, okay? There's all of this pressure to marry quickly before you have sex. So she was feeling all of this pressure from her community and her church, knowing that if she made a mistake and had sex with this guy, you know, she might get excommunicated or whatever they call it in the Mormon church. I mean, all cults are the same. It's just the details that differ. But I can tell you from experience what it's like. They destroy normality around dating and relationships. So there's all this pressure to get married right away to the first guy that shows you some attention so that you stay safe, because the scriptures say that, you know, the woman will stay safe from horrible things like gossip by having lots of babies. And so in the Mormon church, it's different from JW in that they believe that, you know, they need to have lots of babies because don't you want those souls to be born into a Mormon household? She's not making autonomous choices. She isn't. She is indoctrinated. She is in a cult. Just because the LDS church has twice the numbers of Jehovah's Witnesses doesn't make it any less of a cult. It's absolutely a cult. All the occult experts agree. It is a high control religious group. So why aren't we talking about that more? I haven't seen a single video where somebody is talking about this. Just because she's an adult and an intelligent woman does not mean that she's making choices from free will. She isn't. We need to stop saying that.
So let me know what you think about everybody's response down in the comment section. Love to know what you think about it down in the comment section. As always, but you guys know how we do it. You keep it respectful. Yeah, on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we'll do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts. Okay, so like if you're new here, this place is a safe space to have a conversation. So you don't have to agree with everything we say here. Just share your own opinion and just be respectful. Don't drag anybody about it here, okay? So here's my own thought on this. I get where everybody's coming from, and for me, the point of view that's been addressed here on this video, I find it very, very interesting, especially for the women that were in that religion, like what Anna is right now, and really sharing their experience and what it was like to be there, because a whole lot of us were giving our own point of view from not really wearing that shoe that Anna is wearing, or even close to wearing that shoe. Sometimes we can just be talking from our own point of view. So I really find their own take very, very interesting, and the fact that a lot of people are not coming from the place of really realizing that this is Anna's religion. She was raised in this religion. Her husband was raised in this religion, and the ideology of this religion is kind of different. So I find this very refreshing to really get this point of view and all that. And then the sister that was talking about, oh, Anna is a co-owner to the farm and all that. Anna is not. Anna is not. There's a video of a woman who went dive to check the documentation or the of the which I'm going to show you guys now, and comes to find out that the CEO, the owner of the company, was the husband. Anna is not a part of the company and all that. Maybe as a staff, we don't know, but as the owner of the company, it belongs to the husband. And for me, this just really raised an eyebrow on this entire video, because we all saw the work Anna is being put into this farm and all that, and literally she's the face of this brand, Ballerina Farm. And if you don't know, that is the name of the husband's business, okay, Ballerina Farm. So she's the face, she's the motor that drives this business. And I find this very interesting that her name was not in the documentation as part of the owner of this business, especially if that's her husband's business and she's like the brain behind it and the vehicle behind it. Why is her name not there? And this is why when people say, oh, why some people are saying that, oh, why are we so worried about somebody else's relationship and all that? Yeah, on this channel we're here just to have the conversation, because I feel like the other women say, when women start having conversation and women start getting awake, it's a different move for us as women. So I find this very, very interesting to realize that she's putting so much work. She's raising this man 8 children. They have 8 children together, and yet she's not even listed in a business that she is like the vehicle on it for me. That's really interesting. And this is where we got to talk about. I have so many points to cover in this video, so you guys bear with me. It's going to be quite long, okay? So that part of it just is, for me, is a big red flag. If you are a woman, and this is something we talk about here, always protect yourself. Always ask yourself, how does this serve you? How is this going to benefit you? And I feel like a lot of women, especially, we are raised that, oh, a man's money, when you're with a man, it's all together, that's your partner for life and all that. And usually we don't project, or we don't foresee like anything negatively happening and all that, which we've heard women that have like really with a man and then they are left with nothing. So for me, either way, no matter how much you love this man so much, no matter how much the relationship is beautiful, when it comes to business, make it business. Don't get emotional about it. And I feel like this is what women do, especially in my society, in my culture, and all that. Women are in that place where when they're in the business, or when it comes to money matter, it's all lovey dovey dovey. They're not taking it like business. Yeah, in my house with my husband, and when it comes to business, it's like, you know what, we're talking percentage, we're talking contract, like you have to. And that is how I think, even though some people are like, oh, why will you do that with your husband? I feel like it's so not genuine, rather than you looking at it like, okay, I'm doing a business with somebody and handling it like a business, than you doing a business with somebody and handling it like a family matters. Like, separate it. People, as women, we should learn how to separate it. But we are not here to tell Anna what to do with her life, and she says she's happy and all that. There's nothing we can do. We're here to have conversation surrounding her story and the narrative around her life, that I feel like, even though it's not going to help Anna directly, or it's not going to make Anna change her mind, which I don't think Anna is leaving that marriage or going anywhere. I don't think so. It's going to help other women that are going out, other women that are going into it, that probably come across videos like this, to be very intentional about how they move. That aside, when it comes to religion, and I do appreciate the women that come and kind of give us a point of view of the religion, and the women talking about the religion point. A lot of the time people are saying that, oh, Anna is a grown woman, she should know better, da 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 da. She should have picked better. Why would she just sit down and have 8 children? Doesn't she have brain? She's an adult. That's her husband and all that. One thing that I feel like a lot of us, when having the conversation, which some of these women touch, is the fact that Anna, that's how she was raised. And this is something that, like, coming from an African and Nigeria culture, that there's a whole lot of things that is embedded in us, and sometimes it's really hard. And even when you try to move out of it, because everybody around you believe in this one thing, you now almost seem like the awkward one there. I have been in that position where the way I think is being said, I think like the left side of my brain, because I will not conform to what my society and my culture and even religion think I should do or expect me to do, because I'm going to question, I'm going to do that. And when it comes to religion bodies and all that, sometimes you're being painted as a black sheep, because I remember as a young woman growing up, as a young girl growing up, asking questions and raising an eyebrow to some of the things that religion was expecting of me as a woman, society was expecting of a woman. You know what they told me? They told me I was possessed, because I was asking that question that they tell women not to ask. Don't think, don't ask it, don't overthink it, just do it. This is what the book said, this is what religion expects you to do, this is what society expects you to do, just do it, you don't ask those questions. So for me, I cannot get where those sisters are coming from and where Anna might be at, because people are not really looking at that point of view, because this is something she's known all her life with, and they're telling you that this is the way, this is the right way to live, and this is what is considered happiness. I've tried it a couple of times here on this channel. A couple of years ago, what I consider as happiness and what I consider as happiness now, or what I consider as freedom and what I consider as freedom now, is totally different. Initially, after doing the work, going to therapy, doing the work, unpacking a lot of my trauma, a lot of what I am and who I am, and be very intentional about my life and not just move just the way I'm expected to move. I'm very cautious about my life. I'm very intentional about my life. It kind of changed my own ideology of what happiness is. And I would say, I wish I've said a couple of times here on this channel, for the last 3 to 4 years, that I've been genuinely happy. You know, that happiness and peace that comes from within. And I did not know that there was a feeling like this, or there's this feeling, until now, until I started feeling it. But I did not know that. But at that point where I was, at that point in my life, there were certain things I consider happy. I would say, oh, I'm happy. But looking back at it, I'm like, girl, you were not. Because you were doing things confined to society and all that. You were holding back your tongue. You can speak freely. You can move freely. You were holding back a lot of you, your authentic self. But one thing I personally consider freedom, and that's something I wish a lot of women will experience, because what I'm experiencing now is bliss. Like, it is bliss. The fact that I am living my authentic self, and I don't have to explain myself or apologize for living my authentic self. I'm being true to myself, and even people around me. What you see is what you get. Is a different form of happiness. So when Anna said she's happy, honestly, that could be her own form of happiness, that she feels like she's happy, because what she's taught is that honoring your husband, be submissive to your husband, doing all the work, raising, giving birth to so many children, that's what makes you a husband. Yeah, in my culture, serving a man is a thing that a lot of women, that is what they aspire to be. They want to serve. They want to give a man everything. If a man wants a male child, the woman will go home and beyond to make sure this man has a male child, not even considering what this is doing to our health or our life or even our business, our career. They will go that extra mile. Women leave their job to focus on family because that's what their husband wants. Women cut up friendship because that's what their husband wants, because that's what their marriage entails to them. There's a conversation that usually goes on here in my society where they talk about how married women should not be in type of friendship with single girls because they are going to spoil them. And that brings me back to, Anna might be happy, but this is the conversation we're having. Like this woman that said she lived the life Anna lived and now she's divorced. At that point in time, she was happy and she did not know better because she was in her own bubble, and that's what sometimes this religion and society do to us. And if you've been new year, I'm going to say it one more time. Destiny does not believe in religion. I don't believe in any form of religion, but I believe in God, because I feel like religion is used to control people, especially women. That they are teaching us that being a long suffering woman, which has made women to linger on to where we are today, that they've taught us that being long suffering, giving all of you, losing yourself in a relationship is what makes you a strong woman. That's what makes you a virtuous woman. That's what makes you a good woman. And now some of us are unlearning and unpacking a lot of those things. Like, you deserve to be happy. You deserve to be happy. There are a lot of women out there moving and they don't even know what happiness is, and that is what we're supposed. So Anna could be happy here, but we're talking to women that want to move forward, women that are seeing these things and they are questioning it, and like, you know what, the feeling I'm feeling is just justified, because sometimes if somebody does not validate your feeling and made you know that you're not crazy, sometimes when you're feeling these things, people think you're crazy. I remember a couple of years ago, when if I say, oh, I don't want, when they ask me about having children, I kind of lower my voice. I usually don't come out and speak it the way I do now. And it didn't come out right to people, because some people were like, are you sure you're happy? I've gotten a friend that wanted to take me to a pastor because she feels like I need to go to a pastor to pray to have a child. But now I'm here, like I can't wait. Once you ask for, I can't wait to educate you and let you know, like, I'm child free. Like, I'm so saying it out loud and proud and all that. And this is what that dynamic does. And one thing, this type of relationship, this type of dynamic, or when a relation or a type of systematic system that makes women to center men is very dangerous, because these women, they will go home and beyond, like I said. But the fact that Anna is kind of being isolated from everything that she has always wanted and all that from life, and she's not around, but she's just in a big farm with children. She has a whole handful that she doesn't have time to do anything else but to take care of the children, cook fresh meals for the children and her husband, and that is it. And yet her name is not in the business as part of the owner. Like, that's just crazy. But anyway, if Anna loves it, I love it for her. But one thing I pray for every woman, even the one that still center men, okay, that have not learned to center themselves, is that they get to their place, they hear videos like this, they hear women like us talk and communicate and share our story, for them to realize that they are not crazy. Because when you're in that situation, sometimes you are questioning these things, but because that's what is expected of you and that's what is considered as the right thing to do, you do it, and still be happy with it. But when you know better and realize that you're not crazy, like, it's off, something is wrong, is a red flag, it now validates your feeling and helps you to kind of start doing that research. My hope and my prayer to every woman out there is for them to be able to center themselves. When you center yourself and then you make the decision for yourself, For me, that is what I want. Whether you choose to be with a man, have 8 children, or you choose to be alone and be child free, or you choose to be married and child free, but you are doing it very intentionally and doing it for you for the right reason, but not because it's expected of you, and all that's what makes you a good woman. But anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this amazing conversation down in the comment section. But please keep it respectful. As always, here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we'll do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push out my content for more people to see and join in the conversation, and that'll be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.